Transcendentalism is an innovative, idealistic, and philosophical movement that was developed in New England around 1836 in response to rationalism. Influenced by the teachings of Romanticism, Kantian philosophy, and Platonism, it taught that there is an omnipresent divine force that is present in the behavior of humanity and nature itself, and that to understand it, one must learn the reasoning process that governs the nature of one's experiences. A prominent figure in the 1960s, he was an American artist, producer, and director who was a leading figure in the visual art movement known as pop art. Queer and flamboyant, Andy Warhol had quite the personality and was considered to be a persona who possessed an extremely intriguing mind. The way he simply expressed very deep significance and uniqueness made him out to be a nonconformist in many creative ways.
What was the interest to you then in that Campbell soup tin? What gave you the idea of doing that?
Oh, I used to eat it every day. I still do, so. I don't know, and Mr. Billy Boy, I think, has some too. Are you American, Mr. Billy Boy?
No, from Mars, I think.
Oh, Mars. And it's Christopher Marcus is...
I work for Interview Magazine, Andy's magazine.
Thrilling, unique, and genius Quentin Tarantino movies have proven to be legendary in their filmography and script. The way Quentin releases movies such as Pulp Fiction proves to be unique in its style and eloquence. With dramatic scenes and unforgettable lines, these movies are transcendental in the way they are not like most mainstream movies and provide a more unique approach to the world of film.
Did you just order a $5 shake?
Mm-hmm.
That's a shake. That's milk and ice cream.
Last I heard.
That's $5. You don't put bourbon in or nothing?
No.
Just checking.
Controversial political speaker John Oliver is outgoing in his comedic ways and his charismatic personality. He faces international issues with a liberal, democratic view, and is a voice of truth and incorruption. Not caring what powerful organizations can do against him, he chooses to speak freely and be a nonconformist in a world of silence. We can observe this behavior when he speaks to his audience of millions of people about leaders like Donald Trump.
Protester being killed in the wake of neo-Nazis marching in the streets of an American city is the kind of tragedy that calls for true leadership from whoever is in the Oval Office. Unfortunately, the current occupant is this guy, and even after a few hours to think about it, the best he could do was squeeze in this response before a bill signing.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides.
Wait, on many sides? This was a white nationalist rally. You have to...
Revealing the hard life of the ghettos and African American societies, Tupac Shakur uses his poetic lyrics to be the voice of his people. Not being afraid to portray the reality of life, he wraps his beliefs about society and God in a way no one had ever attempted before. Striking messages about the thug life impacted millions of his listeners, and he was able to become an iconic figure of perseverance.
See, I get a feeling there are two Tupacs. I mean, you're this kind, sensitive, friendly guy.
Punani smelling God.
English-born naturalist David Attenborough is a world-renowned naturalist who is authored to various books and has written the script for many recognizable and unforgettable nature documentaries. With a smooth, mellow voice, he narrates the world of nature, describing it with a passion unlike that of any other. His genius in the ways of ecology and biology have shaped what we know and how we have learned about it. His recognition going as far as being knighted by the English Queen herself, Sir David Attenborough has proven to be transcendental in his thoughts and his connection to nature and beyond.
But he wanted to say, look,
why don't you say that you're an atheist? Because if you say that, you clear away all this religious clutter, and people can then appreciate the scientific wonder of the world. But your agnosticism, I think, would you say it's a scientific agnosticism? You feel, as a scientist, you should never say you know?
Yeah, I mean, I can't help thinking of when I have, for example, taken off the top of a termite hill, and I've seen termites in there, all busying about building walls, looking after the queen, caring for the pupae, clearing the nest, all busy about it. Then they're all blind, and they haven't the faintest idea that I am there watching what they're doing, because they don't have those sense organisms which would allow them to know that. And I do sometimes feel that maybe I'm lacking in some sense organ, and I don't know whether there's anybody else involved in all this sort of thing. And it's a very confident thing to say that I'm absolutely sure that there's nothing in this world that I don't have the sense organs to appreciate. That would be my position. And Richard, I don't doubt, would say, well, that's rather feeble. That's not being very brave. And he maybe has got a case.